Hi everyone. I was doing some notes, reviewing some notes on past experiences, also trying to remember some of the tricks I used to have, and I came across some interesting things that I thought might interest some of you guys about some of my first experiences. Initially, I wasn't having astral projections all the time. I was trying a lot and not getting a lot of results compared to the amount of time I was practicing to have experience. And there's a fun kind of experience I had while trying to learn to astral project, where I had one of my spirit guides come and try to help me out. I still don't know exactly who the spirit guide is, but he would use, I'd say, a disguise or a bodysuit that looked like my older sister. Her name is Valerie, so we're going to say that this is my spirit helper whose name is Valerie. I'll never know if that's the real name. That's the name I'm going to give this helper. The helper would come inside an astral projection and try to get me to gain in lucidity. And it was always the case that that's what they were trying to do. It's like to make me realize that we do astral project every night, that some dreams are not dreams. They're you in your astral body, outside of your body. You just don't realize it because you're not lucid enough. And so I'm gonna tell you about 5 experiences I have. From those are the only 5 I wrote down back then. There might have been more, but I'm going to say that these are the 5 experiences I had. The first one, I remember that in my dream, and I'm going to say dream like this because you'll realize later that, it wasn't a dream. So in my dream, I was in my home and I was with my sister and her boyfriend, and we were in my kitchen, and I tried to look at the time on my stove. They were standing right beside me. I tried to look at the time on my stove and I couldn't see the time, and I was like, what's going on here? And as I said that, everything around me was like, when I can imagine, I don't know, I'm not in the acting industry at all, but like if you wanted to like remove the set of an acting scene really quickly, they would pull it up to the ceiling or roof, right? And so that's what it was like I was looking at my stove trying to find the time, I'm like, what's going on here? And then the whole kitchen lifted and I was no longer in my kitchen. I was in a furniture store with a lot of stoves there and whatever. And when I realized that this just happened, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in an astral projection. And I look at my sister and I tell her, oh my God, we're in an astral projection. And she says, what do you mean? Like, she doesn't get it. And I'm like, yeah, we're in a, she's like, nah, you're just, you're crazy or something. And I'm like, I'm going to prove it to you. And so I started to fly upwards. And I just forgot about trying to prove anything to her. I was just having fun. I flew around, blah, blah, landed outside somewhere on the grass. And then I remember I thought I had a craving for something. I, looked around in my pockets, found a snack, ate a snack. And then I was wondering, what am I going to do next? And I wound up being sucked back into my body. So that was the whole experience. It was really short and sweet, whatever. Looks kind of like, no, you just dreamt that. That's a dream. It was a lucid dream, but that's just a dream. Okay, wait a minute. So then the next time, this was maybe a month later. So the first dream was in October. Second dream was in November, beginning of November, a month later. And in this dream, I've talked about this in one of my other videos. In this dream, I'm not lucid. I thought I remembered I had become lucid, but I hadn't. So I'm in my kitchen again, and my sister is sitting on a chair leaning against the wall. And she is like drilling me, like telling me, you have to take all the furniture in this house and stack it up against this wall. And I want you to climb up that wall. And I'm following orders like a soldier or whatever. I'm putting furniture against the wall, stacking chairs, tables, whatever I can find, stacking it and trying to reach. And she's telling me, you need to stack these furniture up till you get to the ceiling because you have to climb up there. And I was doing it like some dumb person just listening to her sister or whatever. I never really became lucid in that dream, but I was questioning, like, why do you want me to do this? And you're gonna see, you have to climb up there. So this was kind of like weird, absurd, whatever. Then the next dream was maybe 2 weeks later. And so I'm in my bedroom, and I know that in physical, it's about 6 a.m. because not long before I've been up and gone to the toilet or whatever. So I guess I'm still kind of remembering what time frame we're in. And all of a sudden, I find myself standing beside my bed. It's 6 o'clock. The lighting in the room is kind of like telling me it's still the same time. And my sister arrives in my room running, like super excited. Come on, let's go, let's go. And so I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And she's really excited, telling me to hurry up. We're going somewhere. There's something to do. And then that's the first time I really went like, something's crazy here. Something's wrong. And then I look at her and I'm like, what are you doing here in my bedroom at 6 in the morning? My sister doesn't live with me, right? So it's not even normal she'd be there, but I realized this. This is the first time I have some kind of realization that this is not right. And I look at her because she's laying down now on the bed and she's like this. And she's waiting and looking at me. You can see it in her face that she's waiting for me to figure it out. And I'm looking at her and I go, oh my God, I'm in an astral projection. And she says, you got it. And she's super happy I figured it out. And I turn around because back then I was working a lot on stabilizing the astral scene, like to make sure you stay there long. And to do that, one of the things you can do is like touch everything around you. So as soon as I realized, oh my God, I'm in astral projection, and it says, you got it, I turn around and I start touching things because I want to anchor myself in the astral realm, but then I wake up in my bed. So that was the first time that I realized what she was up to. She was really trying to do things that were not common, that were kind of absurd or weird, or something that would make me realize this is not normal. And the first time in the furniture store, I did realize it. But the second time climbing the stairs, I didn't get enough time before I lost it to realize it. And this third time is the first time I actually, oh, I know what's happening here. I was so excited. I remember I was so excited. And then about a week later, I had another dream where I was again in my kitchen. It happened a lot. Like, this is what they call locale 1 or whatever, the astral plane that's the closest to the physical plane. So it looks a lot like everything you see in the physical. It's just, almost real time, similar, and you're in your astral body instead of being in your physical body. So it's an astral copy. It's an astral copy of the physical world. So I'm in my kitchen and my sister's there. My sister is there again. And this time she has super dark hair, like dark brown hair. And in real life at that time, she had blonde hair. And she had blonde hair for a long time. She has had dark hair in her life, but it had been like so long ago that when I saw her, I'm like, oh my God, what did you do to your hair? So her hair was so different that I couldn't not notice it, but I didn't have enough time at that moment to realize, oh, this is something so off that I should realize it's not normal and wake up in the astral. And the last time I saw my sister in the astral, she was again in my kitchen. This was maybe 2 months later. And she came into my kitchen and she was super thin, and my sister is not super thin, so it was really weird to see her super. I'm like, oh my God, you're super thin, And I never awoke in the astral. So I really wanted to talk about this part of my journey into learning astral projection. This was like 10 years ago, okay? But what I learned through those experiences, one, you can have different levels of lucidity, both in dreams, but also in astral projection. So you can be astral projecting and not have the lucidity to know you're in an astral projection. And then you wake up and you might be like, oh, that was so weird, and think it's a dream because you never became lucid in that astral projection. So you think it must have been a dream. But that's not necessarily true. You can already be in the astral realm in like, it could be, I'm pretty sure it could even be like anywhere else in the astral realms, like other dimensions and stuff. And you would not be lucid enough to realize, oh, I'm in some other dimension. So that's something that people who are trying to learn should realize, because you could have astral projected and just, not bother to describe it as such. And then maybe next time you're in an experience like that, you have less of a chance to wake up in the astral projection because you don't think it's an astral projection, and you don't memorize these cues that can help you awake and become lucid. So that's one thing. And then, I wanted to, of course, make it obvious that spirit guides can and do help us out there. They, like mine helped me. They used a form so that I would be comfortable with them. They used a familiar form that was my sister's image to make me familiar and to be in the same space as me and me not be like stressed out about it in the astral. And the way that my spirit guide helped me was not the way I probably asked for help, but it was probably what I needed at the time, because I didn't know, oh, this was an astral projection. And after that, I started having a lot more, like between and after these experiences, like it turbocharged my practice. It's like things I wouldn't notice before I started noticing. And you'll see when I describe other astral projections in other videos, how this helped with actual astral projections where I had the opportunity to explore more of the astral realms. So, oh yeah, and last thing that maybe I understood from that is that even though it feels like it was absurd, like I should have woken up, like it's crazy. We have dreams, we're like, oh my God, it's just a dream. You dream something, you're like, I can't explain why I would have done this or why that happened. It's so absurd. That doesn't mean it's not an astral projection just because it doesn't make sense to your physical mind, because it doesn't work the same way out there. So that is my video tonight while I'm reviewing my stuff, and I think this is an interesting piece of my path into astral projection, and so I hope you enjoyed it. And in my next videos, I hope again I'll be sharing an updated, a recent astral projection. I tried last weekend. I was not successful, but maybe next weekend, who knows? And in the meantime, when I don't, I'll try to share information like this, or information about a past astral projection or another spiritual experience, because I have different ones. But of course, I'm trying to astral project more right now, so that's my focus. But sometimes I'll just pop in with some other types of experiences I've had. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.